Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, students. Welcome Pakistan International School Guide Virtual Learning System. Hope you all are fine and learning a lot from this system. This lecture is for grade first year boys and girls, Pakistan culture in view of Urdu. And we have started chapter 3. Today we will continue chapter 3. This is your review syllabus. Chapter 3, the making of Pakistan, the Arab period, foundation of Islamic society. In the previous lecture, we discussed in detail the Arab period, foundation of Islamic society. Today we will discuss socio-political decline, socio-economic setbacks. The other topics which are included in your review syllabus: the beginning of Muslim resurgence, step towards socio-economic uplift, struggle for homeland, Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Qaid-e-Azam, the birth of Pakistan. These topics are included in your syllabus from chapter 3. Arab period. In the previous lecture, we discussed the Arab period. A little review of this Arab period. Foundation of Islamic society based on the divine message as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the Quran. Islam transformed the Arab society into a fraternity of people inspired on the one hand with the concept of unity of God, Tawheed, and Prophet of Muhammad ﷺ, Risalat, and on the other hand with the ideals or the qualities or the speciality of the Muslim society, equality, social justice, and tolerance. After the death of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in 632 AD, half of the known world from the frontier of China to the shore of Atlantic was brought under the fold of Islam. Islam appeared in the light of deliverance and once caught in the world of Arnor, the vast empire of the Persians now became the heritage of the Muslims. We discussed also this point in detail. Main entry of the Muslims in the subcontinent was through the northwestern passes of the Hindu Kush. The first substantial link with Islam came through Sindh 2 centuries earlier, and also Sindh is called the Babul Islam, the Gateway Islam, the province of Sindh. The Arab occupation of Sindh, I told you, Muhammad bin Qasim in 712 entered Sindh, and Islam spread after this in Sindh, and later to the Sindh to Multan, which his successor extended to Kashmir, and this was accomplished more by winning the people than by defeating them. The next, after the coming of Arab in Sindh, after coming of Arab in Sindh, it introduced the different qualities, different speciality of the Muslim society, which the Muslim society based on these qualities: tolerance, social justice, equality, equitable distribution of the economic resources as shown by the Arab soon, and led to the general acceptance of Islam by the local people. Settlement of Arab, we discussed the settlement of Arab. The Arab maintained their way in the region of nearly 3 centuries, and during this time a new social order began to grow up, which represented the basic principle of Islam with local tradition, custom, and trade. Turning point in history. The advent of Islam in the subcontinent seems not only proved to be a turning point in history, but also it opened, it introduced, it was a new era, a new cultural orientation. The Arab already, rich in Islamic civilization, assimilating the knowledge, learning of the Egyptian, Greek, Romans, and the Persian, and by making their own contribution in different fields, Islamic civilization made its great impact on Sindh and later on the subcontinent. The Arab also extended the horizons of their knowledge by drawing upon whatever good they found in the Indian tradition, especially in which little review of the previous lectures. Now today our topic is social political decline. Here we will discuss the social political decline of the socio-economic setback in the subcontinent. Social political decline of the Muslims here we will discuss. First, Aurangzeb death in 1707. A company of foreign merchants, East India Company, acquired control of the political and economic resources of nearly half of the country. This was the time period of Mughal Empire, and the Muslims were weak in power, and the foreign merchant companies took control of political and economic resources, and 100 years later, in 1857, the last of the Mughal, the remaining center of Muslim power, Muslim ruling, was set into exile by those very merchants. First, they introduced these British themselves as a merchant as they came in the subcontinent for trade purpose, but slowly and gradually they took control in the India. However, this transformation was once again the outcome of the sullen and unrelenting hostile behavior of the Hindus, which lost no opportunity to subvert the Muslim society of its political supremacy, cultural superiority, economic well-being. But the Muslim has so far met with all the challenges resolutely purposeful. The rise of the European trading, I told you first they came for the trade purpose, and the rise of the European trading interest in the coastal area, first of all, Bombay, Madras, and Bengal, toward the early 18th century, though seemingly without any political significance, provided much awaited opportunity to the influential Hindu merchants and trading communities of new avenue of illegal trading linked ethical economic collaboration with them. The destabilized of the Muslim position economically, and later totally deparalyzed the totally disabled Muslim. First, they came and they developed themselves in Mumbai, Bandar, and Bengal. These were the Hindus majority area, and mostly the influenced Hindu merchants. Slowly and gradually, they destabilized the Muslim position. On that time, the Muslims, they were in power. They were in the ruling. They were ruling. So they slowly and gradually, Hindus and the British, they destabilized the Muslim position economically and totally disabled them politically when European artillery came to be used extensively in the scramble for city gains. The phenomenal erosion of Muslim supremacy had two aspects. What kind of two aspects? The Muslim supremacy, the number one political, number two socio-religious. They had suffered in both in the same time. And though it may be difficult to establish which these was the cause the other, it was evident that both were closely interrelated, while the political domination maintained the religious and social fiber of the Muslim society, and later they preserved the unity and homogeneity of the Muslim, which sustained their political prestige. Socio-political change in Persia and Afghanistan. In 80th century, Persia and Afghanistan changed social and political change. It started not only endangered the century of linguistic region, which had provided the Muslim society of its spiritual and cultural venue, but in fact aggravated serious, the psychological and political chaos completely disorder which beset the Muslims of subcontinent. In this conclusion, in this situation, we follow the successive incursion of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali Durrani from the north. The Mughal prestige was considerably shaken encouraging the elements inimical to the Muslim supremacy to raise their heads. The Maratha revived their hope once again, and though they received a severe blow at the hand of Ahmad Shah Abdali in 1761, they took advantage of the extensive network of British designs against the Mughal to sweep across the central Indian plain as well as Jamna and Sutlej. Beyond the Sutlej, the Sikhs and other militant non-Muslim community and also they were against the Muslims filled in the political vacuum created by the sagging Mughal prestige and even challenged the Durrani claim over Sindh, Kalat, Balochistan, Multan, Punjab occupying areas as far as Peshawar, Kashmir in the south. Attempt made by Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, they came forward for the Muslims' help of Mysore to reverse the trend of events only failed because of Maratha British collusion. A reform movement by Shah Waliullah and Shah Abdul Aziz. Now, I told you the situation of the Muslims, what was the condition of the Muslims and what kind of circumstances the Muslims were facing on that time. So Shah Waliullah and his son Shah Abdul Aziz came forward and a reform movement, once again a reform movement started. A great Muslim thinker, Shah Abdul Aziz, and it can be asked in MCQs when Shah Abdul Aziz was born. He was born in 1703 and he was died in 1762, and his son Shah Abdul Aziz, he died in 1823, and they came forward to rescue the Muslim society from its growing weakness and its the impending challenges. And his twofold objectives. What were the main objectives or the purpose for the reform movement? The moral and religious reconstruction. This was the main purpose of Shah Waliullah and his son Shah Abdul Aziz. Moral and religious reconstruction of the Muslim society alongside with the political recovery. The teaching of Shah Waliullah and Shah Abdul Aziz made great impact and guide the Muslim society, and they gave them a new direction, sense of direction, and a purposeful and purpose during their own time, as also during the successive generation for the next century. Their efforts for political recovery and cohesion could make little headway in the face of the raging British Hindu Maratha Sikh coalition. They were against British Hindu Maratha Sikh. They were on that time against the Muslims. The effort to revitalize and with new life Muslim society through reform, social organization, religious purification were later channelized into more practical programs of militant action and political evolution by martyr of Balakot, who Sayyid Ahmad and Shah Ismail went in 1831, and who invoked jihad. Jihad means holy war against the Sikh and the British. They carried their mission through a network of centers with villages as the basic unit in a way. This may be regarded as the first mass political movement in the history of Islam in the subcontinent. Although this jihad movement was not successful and could not achieve its target or precise goal, and Sikh remained still controlled the vast area of the Punjab and north, west, and west as the British to occupy Sindh and even attempt the occupation of Afghanistan. I told you on that time Sikh Hindus, they were against Muslims and they helped the British to occupy Sindh and even attempt the occupation of Afghanistan. The spirit and urge for the Islamic socio-political revival continued to work its way until the great political upheaval of 1857. What happened in 1857? In 1857, the outbreak of the war, also it is called the War of Independence in 1857, when British took control from the Muslims of India. Though attributed to a variety of factors, unmistakably owed its inspirational basis and operational spirit from the extensive as well as intensive campaigning by the 80th and early 90th century Muslim reform and revival. Ulema and the sermon. The role of the ulema in this condition how they helped the Muslim, the sermons in the mosque and the circulation of the mysterious breads, the passing from village to village, from Bengal to Sindh, from the remote madrasas to the northern hills, while was in fact a silent indication of adherence to the cause and secret device of the ulama to rally a millet for the impending struggle against the British. They wanted to started a campaign against the British and also the rally to the millet for the impending struggle against the British. The underlying first 1857 was the revival of the Islamic socio-political system, so some Muslim elements were either neutralized by the British or remained aloof due to their selfish and while some non-Muslim elements joined into the serve their vested interests. Result. What was the result of all this situation? The failure of the movement was foredoomed because of the extensive military organization and superior resources of the British. What was the result? British took control from the Muslims and how? Because they were organized, military organized, and they were having extraordinary resources, superior resources. If we compare to the Muslims, they were lax in both military organization and superior resources. The British retribution of the Muslims was both fair and savage. They were hunted down and persecuted and sent to gallows. The Mughals were completely liquidated and the organizers of the movement, the ulama, the chief of the principalities, the zamindar, and other notable Muslims, they were executed or thrown away of their homes, were completely destroyed to the ground. Land presumed and properties were confiscated by the British and also Hindus. In fact, all elements and institutions which nourish Muslim culture, Muslim society, the symbol of Muslim culture, the symbol of Muslim pride, the symbol of Muslim society were planning, pre-planned, systematically they were destroyed, systematically they were removed, and they had now sunk into the lowest depths of the broken side, black despair and general extreme poverty. Now this was done by the British, Hindus and the Sikh collectively, and the British took control from the Muslims while the Muslims were ruling in the India last thousands of years, and the British took control from the Muslims, and this was the worst period of the Muslims of India, and the condition of the Muslims which was created. I told you they destroyed the Muslims' property, confiscated, land resumed, and this was the dark black despair and general penury, extremely poverty period for the Muslims. In the next lecture, we will discuss the beginning of Muslim resistance, step towards socio-economic conflict, struggle for homeland, how Muslims struggle for their homeland or the separate country. Hope you understand today's lecture, and it can be asked overall in the long question. So prepare and learn this topic at home. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.